Race, along with all of its implications, and language were never aspects in my life that I could afford to ignore. My heritage obligated me to be aware of how they benefited and harmed me in different contexts and situations, and how they affected people's perceptions of me. Therefore, before this class, I was already aware of the role of race and language in my life, yet I was surprisingly ignorant of the true extent of its effects. Being a bilingual individual who lived most of my life in Puerto Rico made me incredibly insecure in both languages. The variety of Spanish used in Puerto Rico is deemed inferior by other Latin Americans, and even worse in the US. Additionally, English is my second language, which meant I couldn't pronounce some words quote-unquote properly, and no matter how hard I tried and practiced, the accent wouldn't go away entirely. Thus, I believed both languages I spoke were not good enough and felt linguistically inferior to other Spanish and English speakers. Similarly, I never identified with a specific race because my heritage is primarily a mix of white, African, and indigenous, which meant I fit into all and neither of those categories simultaneously. Regardless of my racial identity, I knew Black and darker-skinned people faced racism I would never be able to understand genuinely. Still, my experience with racial and linguistic discrimination has helped me better empathize and fight with them against racism. This course has changed my perceptions of language, race, racism, and anti-racism for the better. I am no longer as linguistically insecure as before, and when I do find myself thinking the way I used to, I remember that prestige and quote-unquote proper language are merely social constructs designed to further privilege and benefit the power group. Unfortunately, not everybody knows this and consciously or unconsciously continues to foster these harmful ways of thinking. However, I am now well equipped to create consciousness on the issue using theoretical explanations and concepts to present a well-constructed position. I can now view language as an essential part of my identity without devaluing any aspect of it because in the end, it makes me who I am. Even though I am still required to use proper language in the academic and professional setting, I consider the power relations at play and advocate for change whenever the opportunity arises. Concerning racism, I am now knowledgeable of the importance of power and privilege in racial issues and how much of a difference it actually makes. Advocating against racial issues and other forms of oppression was one of my passions since I was in middle school, but this course has equipped me with the theoretical information necessary for perceiving things differently and allowed me to interpret my life experiences in a way that I wouldn't have been able to before. The class has been enlightening because it further demonstrated how much I have yet to learn and improve. It also allowed me to consider other viewpoints from individuals with opposite experiences and lives to mine, which reshaped some of my opinions and judgments while fortifying others. While I may not be a victim that needs to be saved, that doesn't mean that it's my responsibility alone, or any other minorities for that matter, to fight against racism, especially in the United States. Because of this course, I am now better qualified to explain why the former statement is true using theoretical concepts and why being unapologetically anti-racist is crucial.